Hi, folks. It's Friday afternoon, and this is Real Estate with RE/MAX. I'm Lance Hansen. We're here Friday afternoon from 1:30 to 2:30, just bringing you information on real estate, all the different things that go on out there. And today we're talking investments, investors, that kind of thing. We have a couple of special guests, and if you'll stick around for just a minute or so, we'll be right back. I'll introduce them, and we'll get right into things. Thanks for streaming along.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders, building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for streaming along with us. We're here at webcast1live.com. We come every Friday afternoon to talk real estate with you. Today, we're going to talk about investors and investing in real estate. Got some things to show you and have two folks who have just come out of an extensive two-day class on investing. And they're going to share with us some of the things that they learned, some of the newest stuff that's going along. So let me introduce them to you. First, we have Carrie Webber. And Carrie is out of our Beaverdale office and is one of our top-notch realtors there. And we also have Rob Spearman. And Rob is our broker, owner, just all-around big dog. Wouldn't you say, Carrie?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. He's just the all-around big dog and the smartest man in the room. So.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So anyway, welcome to both of you, and thanks for coming down and spending some time with us. One thing before we get into that, I do have to say, because I talked about it last week on the show a little bit, congratulations to the Des Moines East Scarlet Girls for winning the state championship. And I'm a big fan, and even though I live in Southeast Polk and all my grandkids go to Southeast Polk, I had to go back to the roots and root for East, and they won, and we are extremely proud of them. So congratulations to them. Now back to real estate.
I do have a question about that.
Yes.
Is this the team that had not been to the state tournament since 6-on-6 girls basketball?
They had not won.
Not won since
They
then.
had not won since then, yeah, with Lori Bauman.
Oh, sure.
Back in the day, yeah.
In the 80s.
Yeah. So it was extremely exciting, and an amazing team. 4 starters are going to D1 schools.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Where are they going?
4 of the 5 starters. One's going to Notre Dame. One's going to Cornell. And I forget the other 2.
Some smart players.
D1 schools, 4 of them on the same team, and so.
Well, Cornell and Notre Dame, those aren't easy schools to get in.
No,
education-wise.
No, you've got to be smart for one thing.
Yes.
They don't take just anybody. They'd have to have like a Carrie.
Yes.
To have the the genius capabilities, then they could get in.
Exactly.
But they can also play basketball, so I'm sure that helps. Just a little maybe, just a little. So anyway, you guys were down to or over to or whatever in Las Vegas.
That's correct.
At our annual RE/MAX convention, our international convention, and you got to learn all kinds of great things. And Carrie, I noticed in a couple of Facebook that maybe you weren't in class all the time. Because there was like, at a spa or something like that.
I
maybe.
may have found my way
that
to
was
the
late
spa
in the evening.
after a long, hard day of class.
Yeah, that's exactly what
course.
That's exactly what I thought. So, but Rob, I know you go every year to this. And,
Yes, I do.
And you always learn lots of stuff. But this year I was particularly interested because we've been touching a little bit on the show. The last 2 or 3 weeks at least, we're touching on the show about this home affordability index, which is at the highest level that it's been, or at least a month or so ago. It was approaching 75% nationally, which is just huge, which means that 75% of the people earn the income to be able to buy the median priced house in the area at that time. And that's extremely high because it tends to be around 65% or so. And with the combination of our low interest rates and the fall in pricing that we've had across the nation, it's made it very affordable to buy housing right now. And one of the things that has stimulated is investors, because they're the first ones to jump into a good market like that. Mm-hmm. And so we've touched on it a little bit. Had Matt Morrow was in last week and visited with us about maybe a few things to watch out for, when you're talking about investing. But today we're going to talk about some of the details of investing and what it's about. So Rob, I'm going to go to you and let you kind of lead into some of this.
Well, sure. And what's really interesting is why the investing in real estate probably has not been such a great opportunity, more so today than over the last 5 or 8 years, is because of the changes in the market. The pricing's much better, and there is a shortage of single-family houses out there for people to rent. There's a huge demand to rent, so those rent prices are going up, and it's just added some great value into investment opportunities in the single family, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Not commercial properties or multifamily, but investing in the single family, the 2 or 3 bedroom home in the Des Moines or the suburb area. Mm-hmm. Now, what Carrie and I did is we attended what was called the Certified Investor Agent Specialist Training, and it was an intense 2-day class at the RE/MAX Real Estate the convention in Las Vegas. Okay. And during that 2 days, we learned some things to help investors make the right decisions on purchasing properties.
I needed you about 5 years ago.
Well, you bought at the height of the market.
Yes,
5 years ago.
But that's the same way I invest in stocks. I buy high, sell low, and never can figure out why I don't make any money. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
That's what we're here for.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
See,
good,
now,
good.
if you would have had a certified investment specialist,
yes,
you would have been set straight.
I would have, and of course that's water under the bridge, and here I am now. But maybe you can help me and some of the other folks out there to make some better decisions and buy homes that are the right thing to do.
Oh, exactly. Now, this Certified Investor Agent Specialist designation of this training, it's a fairly new designation, and there's over 1 million realtors nationwide, and in the Des Moines area there's 1,500, and probably right now in the Des Moines area, 1,500 realtors, there's 2 people that have it, myself and Carrie Webber. So if you're an investor looking to if it's your first house or if you've bought in many homes, I would suggest giving Carrie a call. She's an excellent representative in this market and does a terrific job. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, and if Esme could maybe put up some slides, we'll kind of go through some slides because I think what we first need to talk about is why real estate is such a good investment. And we'll just get those slides up. Here they are.
Okay.
And so one of the first things that we want to do is compare real estate to other assets.
Okay.
And on this following page here, it shows that bonds are certificate of deposits, CDs at your local banks or a bond, what the return is. And these next several slides, we'll look at the last 10 years, from 2000 to 2009. And you'll see on the left column there that the bond, the return, it was at 6%, just a little bit over 6% in the year 2000, 2009 at 3.26, and you can see an average of 4.46. You had a similar trend on the CDs, but it trended down dramatically over the last several years. It was at just a little bit over 6.5% in the year 2000, and 2009, 0.87%.
Yeah, it's they're the people that are out there that have seedy investments and thought, okay, we can live on the interest and stuff. Had some real rude awakenings over the last 5 to 7 years.
Oh, exactly. And you're losing pace with inflation. So if inflation's at 2 or 3 or 4%, you're going backwards.
Which we had all through that period. We had terrible inflation.
Exactly.
So they're backwards.
You're exactly right. Now, when we go to the next slide here, is the mutual funds. Now, the mutual funds can or underperform in the market, and this was what was really surprising when I was taking this class, is that over the last 10 years, the average return was 3.66% on the mutual funds. Now, mutual funds are managed by someone else. You really have no other control except for choosing which fund you're going to go into. And dividends are reinvested typically. They're not paid to the investor as far as cash flow. Now, the next slide regarding stocks, and we'll have that come up here. This was another surprise to me. And you had mentioned, is buying at the top of the market for stocks.
Yeah.
Now, this goes through. Now, we've had the dip in 2008 through 2009 that has affected this, and it shows that on the S&P index over this last 10-year span, a negative 30% decrease. Okay.
Yeah, I am so well aware of that. You have no idea.
The cool thing is during the same period of time, the housing prices dropped less than 10%.
Oh, that's correct. Yes, very good. Yes.
Yeah, so if nothing else, apples to apples, just as investment holdings, utilized a lot less.
Well, we'll look at this next slide. Let's take a look at real estate right here. Now, this is, as you can see, again, the same 10-year period, a 30% increase in value for an investment. And what is unique, if you look at 2005 through 2008, you can see that peak when everything was escalating. When everyone said that, hey, the real estate is just unbelievable, and then we hit the drop in 2008 and 9, and a dramatic drop. They said it was one of the largest drops in value in 50, 60, 70 years in real estate.
Yeah.
Okay, now take that into account. Look at the return here. 30% increase still in value, and that is having the most economic downturn in the history of real estate, and we still have over a 30% return. It clearly shows the value and the safety of real estate as a tremendous investment. A tremendous investment.
Yeah, it's been long said, and every millionaire, in their early times, all of that was done with real estate.
Yes, that's correct.
All of the real big dog earners, outside of the oil barons and like Bill Gates. Every other millionaire became that way through real estate.
You're exactly right. But if you talk with Bill Gates probably owns a lot of real estate right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
I imagine so.
I would think. I mean, why not? Why not?
Now, this next slide compares real estate versus stocks. And you can see that $100,000 investment over the last 10 years, you would have had $69,000 in value of your stock. That's a 30% decrease. And with your real estate investment, the value would be at $207,000. Again, it clearly shows that real estate makes a great investment. And this is very important to know because of what we have heard in the paper over the last several years, some of the changes in the financing, that it would seem that real estate really was not a good investment, but is clearly an excellent investment.
Yeah, I think if you look short term, if you look at people in the short term in real estate, certainly they took a hit. If you bought at the peak, and especially people that bought their own single family homes, they pay it off out of their own pocket, that kind of thing. They've certainly lost value in that property nationally and even in the greater Des Moines area. But even if you bought rental property in that peak, even though some of the value has come down, your investment is still minute because it's your down payment investment.
Well, and another thing too, is if you did buy at the peak. Let's say you bought in 2006.
Which I'm the example you're using.
Okay.
Yeah.
In 2006, you buy at the peak, and let's say that you did lose 25% in value. Okay. At the same time, the demand and the quality, and when I say quality as far as renter, better qualified renters, and the rent price has gone up.
Yes.
Okay, which would affect your cash return. So in 2006 is the rental properties I had trouble renting them or finding qualified tenants that would qualify to rent the properties.
Yeah.
Today, you have people lining up to rent them, and you're able to charge a higher price. So even though that value lost, you have more demand, you're creating better cash flow, and it's a greater return. And you'll see here a little bit later some of the other benefits that you have with real estate and how it's done as far as appreciation value over the last 30 years. So let's go to this next slide here, the benefits of real estate, and we'll flip through this one. Is one of the things to consider with real estate. You do have cash flow, and it can be a steady and significant stream of income for you. On the left-hand side, it shows that the rental income that's coming in, and of course you'll have expenses. You have your property taxes, your insurance. If you have it professionally managed, you'll have anywhere from an 8 to 10, 11, 12% management fee that you'd have to pay. You'll have maintenance, because you're going to have to perhaps fix the toilet or repaint when a tenant moves out, and then you'll have your mortgage payment if you have a debt to service on there, and then after you've subtracted that, that's what you have is you have your cash flow that comes in every month, month after month. And so let's go ahead and go to the next slide, Esme. The second thing that's really powerful about the investments is appreciation. Okay. Now, in today's market, what we've learned, Carrie, is that appreciation is really a benefit.
Absolutely.
And but the main item is the cash flow. So when you look at your investment today, and Carrie has some calculations and as we kind of go through some of the different opportunities and investments, that when she sits down with her investors, she'll go through and analyze that investment for them so that they know that they're making the right decision. Okay.
Is this like a software, or you actually work through the numbers?
They're both. We
Both,
do have
okay.
software. A lot of it is just basically knowledge, experience, running solid numbers, and finding out what their bottom line is, what their exit strategy is, and making it work for them.
Yeah, I think too many people, especially in the period when I bought, and we didn't do that, but I knew a lot of investors at that time were buying on appreciation. And I know we had people that were like, I don't care if it cash flows, even if I have to throw a little money in it, it's okay because the appreciation. And I know we had enough sense to at least know, no, if it doesn't cash flow, we're not buying it.
And that's what we're here for, is to educate people that we only buy for cash flow, not for appreciation.
Okay.
Exactly. So if there is appreciation, it's a bonus. And so the home appreciation average, and I was thinking it was 30 years, but it's 40 years is 5%. And so and appreciation could be less volatile. So Esme, if we can go to the next slide, this is really fascinating. It shows from 1970 to the year 2010, and it shows a gradual appreciation of value of this investment. And you'll see in 2005 to that 2008 time period, that's the bubble that they talked about. It looks like a balloon that's about ready to pop, okay? And it just went way out of the normal line of that steady growth. It popped, okay? And that's where we heard about all the downturn and all this negativity on real estate, but it has leveled out. I mean, we have hit the bottom. And we are now starting to see some modest appreciation, and you can see the dotted lines there that project it going up. So still, with this huge drop in prices, your investment is a great vehicle to use. So
Keeping in mind here locally, in the local market, our price decrease was not as severe as it seems on this chart. That's a national average.
Yes,
So.
and yeah, thankfully, we didn't see the Las Vegas and Phoenix and that kind of thing. Those kind of valuation. We don't see the upturns here. We don't have like the coast where you buy a house and 3 years later it's double value. That kind of thing. But then that that benefit of that is that we don't see that huge market drop. So I'll tell you, we need to take a short break. We got to thank a few sponsors and make sure that people are aware of them. So we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. Stay streaming with us. We'll see you in a few.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Yikes, when it comes to getting your carpet clean, don't just pick another name from the phone book. Call the company you already know and trust. From Springer Pest Solutions and Springer Handyman comes Springer Carpet Cleaning. Springer uses the best equipment available. No one can clean your carpet better. And with Springer, there's no hidden fees and no add-ons. Springer cleans your entire house the right way. We even return for spot cleaning throughout the year. Stick with the name you know and trust. Call Springer Carpet today.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders, building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Hey, welcome back. This is Real Estate with RE/MAX. I'm Lance Hansen, and today we're talking investments. And specifically, we're talking about single-family residential investing. Either for the seasoned professional has been doing it for a while, or individually for those people who think maybe it would be a good idea to have a house or two to just hold your money value up a little bit. And so today we've got Carrie Webber, who is an agent and now a certified investment agent specialist.
Correct.
Yes. And so she has joined us along with Rob Spearman. And both of them went to a intensive study, 2 days of study, to gain this designation, which I think kind of brings all of that basic knowledge, because certainly you've worked with investors and been around and helped people and stuff, but to have it all brought together and put in a real order of this is what you should look at, this is how you should think about it, these are things you need to worry about. That kind of thing. I think that's what this does, is it really puts it into a nice, clean package so you really can interview with people.
Absolutely. It also helps identify the different types of investors so that we can better help them with what specifically they might be looking for, as opposed to somebody who, maybe one person wants to buy one property a year. Maybe someone else has never invested before. They have a home. They're ready to move up into a larger home. We can teach them how to use that first home as an investment property.
Oh, cool.
And
Good
there's
ideas.
something too, Carrie, that you do for your clients, and you were sharing with me at the convention, and I thought it was just a fabulous service, and that was your deal of the week. And what I liked about it, it addressed the different type of investors with your sheet that went out. Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
I do a deal of the week. I have several investors, all on different levels, that I work with on a regular basis. Some of them want more higher-end homes in the suburbs. They're going to hold them long-term, use them as rentals, all the way down to people who maybe buy 4 or 5 properties a month. They rehab and resell. So what I do is, for each category, each price range, I find the best properties on the market with the best return, and I put together a little spreadsheet, call it my deal of the week. It's color coordinated for the type of investors. Everyone knows what section of the spreadsheet they need to go to, and I send that out to all of my investors weekly, and it works out really well. It saves them the time of going out and looking and searching on their own.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of all the work is done, puts it in front of them. If they see something they're interested in, they get back to me, and I run the numbers for them, and we get it done.
That's awesome. That's
And
a
this
great
is
idea.
it's a great idea and a great service, because one thing that's important is a person could send out a list. If you work with a realtor and they say, well, I'll just send you out a list, and they automatically just send these listings to you, they're really not dissecting the investment opportunities. And that's what Carrie's doing. She's taking inventory that's coming on the market, she's looking at it, she's throwing out the ones that are not investment quality, okay, and dissecting those down into the different needs for their investors. It's a great service. It's I've been in this business 15 years, and I talked to hundreds and hundreds of different realtors, and it's the first realtor that I've spoken to that actually does it in that much detail. The other thing that's really important when you're working with a realtor is there's a difference in working with a realtor that perhaps doesn't work or is not familiar with the investment type properties, because you have to understand value and understand not only the value but what it would take to fix the home if the home needs some repair, and typically it will, and also understanding some of the bases of, if the roof is good and the furnace is good and things like that, and to understand after it's fixed that it's what the value is going to be at that time point. And that's what Carrie does with this. And Carrie, if I understand correctly, you don't charge for that service, do you?
Oh, absolutely not.
And so if someone wanted to, if I was an investor out there and I wanted to, matter of fact, I am an investor, so I would like to have that deal of the week, okay? And so is Lance. So if you put us, our email address, so put us there.
Absolutely, yes. It's an email that gets sent out. I hope to eventually incorporate this into my blog in
wonderful.
the future. So that, other people who maybe are considering investing, they haven't taken that jump yet, haven't contacted an agent, they can go on there.
How do you, and I know we're getting away from some of the things we're talking about, but the biggest question that I'm asked and struggle with as an agent, and, I work with a few investors, certainly not very many. Most of my business is, single family homes, people buying and selling, that kind of thing. But the question I get asked that's hard for me to answer is the different areas and pricing of homes, and then where would they rent? How much would they rent for? Because that's such an impactful thing, when you're looking at cash flow. And so, the ones that I have are not higher end, and I would love to move, to higher end. And that's the biggest struggle that I personally have, and find that with other people, where it's like once you get past that, 2-bedroom, single family, decent little house, decent neighborhood, that kind of thing, that goes anywhere from maybe $600 on the low end to $800 on the high end. Then when you go past that and you start looking at properties that are renting for $1,200, $1,400, $1,800, then I start losing perspective, and that's where your service would be invaluable.
This is why you should be working with a certified investor agent specialist. We make it our job to know the market, and to know what's going on, what things are renting for. That's what we do. That's what I specialize in.
So if they wanted to reach you, if they could call you directly or text you,
Yes. Call or text. My phone number is 515-442-0333. Or you could email me at CarrieWebber@remax.net.
So that's CarrieWebber@remax.net. And that's a free service. So I would encourage people just to get on that list, see what type of inventory is coming out in the deal of the week. So
I also have several resources available for people who might be considering getting into investing, as well as people who are currently investing. Resources to things like you're talking about. What are the fair market rents right now? What areas are renting better than others? Things like this.
And that's just huge information. And I can see why you're such a successful agent. If you're providing that service, that's awesome.
Well, let's go back to these slides here.
Let's go back to the
we
slides.
were at leverage, because this is something that's unlike any other type of investment, because I know you can do margins and things like that in commodities or stocks, but with real estate you can leverage it. And this shows, for example, a typical investment that you're going to put $1,000 in, you have a buying power of 1,000. So if we go to the next screen, is that it will show you how you can leverage. And we'll wait for that to come up. There we go. That you can take 1,000 and you have a buying power of 5. And obviously the way to do that is because you're going to finance some of that. You're going to put, in today's market, you'll need at least 25% to put down. But if, let's say you're purchasing a price of a property of $100,000, you're going to put $25,000 down, but you're going to be able to purchase a $100,000 property. So you've leveraged yourself. It's a great opportunity to take advantage of that.
I don't want that to discourage people who may not just have $25,000 laying around to invest in a property. There are ways to do this without that huge first-time investment, and that's what we're here to educate people on. Like I mentioned earlier, if you already own a home and you're ready to move up, maybe using that first home as an investment property instead of selling before you buy again.
That's and actually, point. In this market, there are a lot of people who are actually considering that, who have that first home, that smaller 2-bedroom thing, and they don't have a huge amount of equity in it.
Right. They may have even lost some of the value.
Right.
The benefit is to regain that value before you are going to sell, and
you
can
get
do
over
that
a period of
unholding
time.
over time. Yes.
I think that's and I've actually talked to a few people about, maybe it's better to just hang on to this one rather than try to sell it, and not necessarily lose money, but lose the equity position that you had. And hold it for a longer period of time, let the market work its magic a little bit.
It also enables you to earn a cash flow on that property, as well as reap the tax benefits.
And those are nice, and we'll get to some of those.
Yes, and another thing is, I'm glad Carrie brought this up, is if you're looking at buying your first home, you could consider buying a duplex. And by doing that, you'd qualify for FHA financing, 3.5% down, and you would qualify for an owner-occupant financing because you're going to live there. And live there 3, 4, 5 years, and then move to your second home, and now you have a great investment opportunity with low rates, low down payment, and a duplex.
That's a great way, and I've tried to get a lot of young people to look at that, especially if they're thinking, I'm going to rent for a few years.
Right.
And I'm like,
you can't beat having someone else pay your mortgage.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have people who are living in one half of a duplex, and basically they pay like their power, and everything else is taken care of, and so they just have their power. And I encourage them, take some of that extra money, kind of just start setting it off to the side, what you would have paid.
Absolutely.
And then you are starting to build up that down payment, for your next home. And so it's a great vehicle to start your real estate process.
It really is. And as we go to this next slide about the tax benefits, which is just tremendous. You do have depreciation, and we'll show some information about that. A 1031 exchange, and that's just a way to move from one property to the other property and defer it, and a number of other benefits there. And we'll run through these next two slides fairly quickly because I know that we're probably we have a lot of information. It might be running short of time.
Right. Yeah.
But this just shows some of the costs that might be associated with the rental property or that investment property that you can deduct. And the next slide shows the investors' items that you can depreciate or tax deferred. And the next slide will show the depreciation as far as the deduction that you would have. And if you purchased, if you had a property worth $100,000 and $85,000 was attributed to the house, so $15,000 was the value of the land. The basis of the depreciation would be $85,000, and according to current tax laws, you can depreciate that out over 27.5 years, which is about 3.63%. You'd be able to deduct just over $3,000 off your taxes. If you were in a 30% tax bracket, that'd be a savings of $900. So on your taxes
every year.
Every year for 27 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's go to the next slide here. We're going to. I must have. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Leveraging for your retirement.
This is the kind of thing that I'm looking at.
This is the self-directed, and I think we might have Esme. Go ahead and go to the next slide for us. And I apologize, folks. Here. Very good. Okay, this is where I want to go next.
Oh, okay.
Because there's always a myth about investing in real estate. So go ahead and flip the next slide. Is that this shows that you don't have to be wealthy to start investing in real estate.
Which was what you were talking about, Carrie,
Right.
is that there's ways of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody would call you, you could explain that exact process,
I can
right?
tell them how to make this happen.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And it shows here that in 2009, the median income for an investor was $87,000. So what median income means is that out of all the investors that are out there, is 50% are above income of $87,000 and 50% are below. 43% made less than $75,000 a year. Now this is for a family, so it could be for a couple of two incomes.
Yeah, and that's not living large.
No, 35, 40,000
family on
each.
75 that's not large living at this point.
Exactly. So we switch over to the next slide. This just again kind of shows that that the average is 87.2, and those dots represent where the majority of them are at. They are right there around that 87.2 and 72,900. Again, a family of two, that's $35,000, $38,000 each.
Mm-hmm.
A very modest income. And go to the next slide. So the portrait of the investor, an investor that is buying single-family homes nationwide and here in the Des Moines area, is income of $87,000. 43% of the investors in 2009 made less than $75,000, and 78% of the investors are married couples. Half of the investors are less than 45 years old. So over 50% of the investors are younger than 45. So what this says is you don't have to be wealthy, and you don't have to be old to buy real estate. Okay,
well,
and there are
out of two.
Yes. So So if you're looking at buying that first or that second one, and you're 25 years old, it's a great time to buy it at that age. You don't need to wait until you're 50, 55, or 60.
Even younger than that, people should consider when they're going away to college. That would be a great time to do what you said earlier: buy the duplex, rent it to your friends on the other half, live with your friends on your half, earn a cash flow while you're in college.
Yes, that'd be great.
Great idea. And we go to the next slide here. Just shows the median investment property price in 2000 was $105,000. Mm-hmm. So again, we're not looking at buying $1 million properties or the strip malls. This is just the average price is $105,000. And there's different ways to invest. You can do it through leveraging. And you can do it through self-directed IRAs, and I don't want to go into that today because we don't have time.
That's extremely detailed, but
perhaps we can come back on again and talk about
huge benefits.
A remarkable show.
Absolutely.
That would be.
Yep. It really would be.
So you'll come back and help go through that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Excellent, then.
I'm going to have to start buying houses from her, even though I'm a realtor. You're
going to have to. She sends you that deal of the week.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
I'm
Who's going
to write the
call her
offer?
up and go, maybe you could pay me a referral off of my own deal.
This has happened.
So, Esme, if we can go to the next slide here. And as far as great deals to look out there in the marketplace, and this is what Carrie's doing, you have a great advantage working with her because she'll go through short sales, which are distressed sellers, REO properties, which stands for real estate owned. Those are foreclosures or repos. Or HUD homes, but also what she will do is she'll go through and look for homes that might be distressed, that aren't short, or estate sales that they need to remove quickly.
Matt Morrow was huge on estates.
Yes.
And he said that his biggest reasoning behind that is that you still buy them at a good value, but they're less likely to have, some of the major issues.
Right.
That, people have lived in them and they've had them for years and they've taken care of them. And so he's a huge on looking at estates to find good values for people.
I really prefer that sometimes over an REO or a short sale, especially over a foreclosure, because Matt's very knowledgeable, and he hit it right on the key there, because is a family, if they've owned the home for 30, 40, 50 years, there's not a lot of structural changes to the home, a lot of things that have been done to it to really make it a little bit odd. Sometimes they've people moving in and out. So as we go to the next slide, Esme, it shows that only 5% of the investors really are in the resort properties. Most of the investors are buying in rural, suburban, and small towns. And the last page just kind of, again, goes over what the typical type investor is. And it's not the millionaire, as we've talked about before.
Well, good. I qualify then.
And one thing, I don't know how much time we have.
Well, we're going to have to take a break here.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break.
Short break.
And then we're going to come back and we'll have some time to go over some other stuff.
Well, what we'd like to talk about, this is what I think is exciting, because I had not seen this done before, but how you can purchase a single-family home and use that to pay for your college education, your children's college education.
There you go. Okay. Folks, we're going to come back in just a couple minutes. Watch some of our sponsors here. Stay streaming along with us. We'll see you in just a few.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Yikes, when it comes to getting your carpet clean, don't just pick another name from the phone book. Call the company you already know and trust. From Springer Pest Solutions and Springer Handyman comes Springer Carpet Cleaning. Springer uses the best equipment available. No one can clean your carpet better. And with Springer, there's no hidden fees and no add-ons. Springer cleans your entire house the right way. We even return for spot cleaning throughout the year. Stick with the name you know and trust. Call Springer Carpet today.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for streaming along with us here at Real Estate with RE/MAX. I'm Lance Hansen, and today our guests are Carrie Webber and Rob Spearman, and the possibly and likely the only two people that are certified investor agent specialists in our area. So a great designation, and of course, Rob, you're busy doing stuff. So people aren't going to call you.
No.
You know.
My role as a broker owner is to I'm in the agent service business. I take care of some of the best
And
agents
so,
in the one area.
People have to call Carrie.
Yes, definitely.
And visit with her about what's going on.
They will be glad they did.
Yeah, there you go. So while we're here and still remembering, give us your numbers and your email again.
You can reach me at 515-442-0333. Either call me or text me, usually a quicker response with text.
Yeah.
Or you can email me at CarrieWebber@remax.net.
Okay, good. I'm going to make sure we got that in, because then I'd end up ending the show and go, oh, I should have done that, you know.
The deal of the week.
Yeah, and the deal of the week. It's just a phone call away.
Yes.
Yeah, shoot me a text, call me, tell me your email address, and I'll get you on that list.
Cool. I'll get my wife to do that.
Terrific.
So we've got, and we don't have a lot of time left, but we at least want to talk a little bit about how somebody could take real estate, invest in it, and turn that into a way of helping their kids. And outside of, dying and letting them inherit it, which is, a little later on. It's college, and college has gotten ridiculous. It's just silly expensive. And I'm so glad that my kids have gotten through that part of it now, because it almost broke me then. And I don't think I could make it, at this point. But you two have got some ideas about paying for college through investing in real estate. And so I want to just kind of hit some of the high points.
Yes, exactly. And what's really cool about this is that if you just recently had a baby and you want to take care of that college education, you just need to buy one property.
Just one.
Just one. One property. And we have a couple slides just to kind of highlight this. Now, what's interesting about this, what Carrie will do is she will sit down with you, go through these numbers, because each individual property is going to be different on the numbers, and she'll take care of figuring that out to determine if it's a good investment and if it will accomplish what you want to accomplish. And if you have 2 children, perhaps you need to buy 2 properties.
Or if you're going to Harvard or something, like, you might have to ante up a couple.
Yes, you might need to buy a few. But we're in the great state of Iowa.
Yes.
So I would think they might go to Drake or Iowa State. So
or UNI.
Or UNI, yes, exactly, up north.
There.
Up north, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, Esme, if you want to put the last 2 slides on, the one with the calculation worksheet, this is something that Carrie would prepare for the investment. And this just breaks it down. It shows the purchase price of a property, gross annual rents. This looks like it's just a little bit over $1,000 a month. We take into the expenses, just like we did in that one slide with the cash flows. We'd have our taxes, insurance, if it's a homeowner's insurance or homeowners association, if you had it managed, expenses, lawn service, maintenance, and vacancy. And in this example here, it shows total expenses as $3,900. You take the gross annual rent, which is $14,000, less the expenses. It shows an NOI, which is a net operating income, of $10,500. Now, when you look at the next figure here, this shows as a cap rate. And a cap rate basically says if you invested $100,000 cash and you earned $10,500, you had no debt on it, you'd have a 10% return or 10.5% return. Now, when you add the debt service here, in this situation, it shows $8,400 in payments. It shows a cash flow of $2,005. That's your cash flow that Carrie talked about. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for appreciation, but we're looking for cash flow. What is reassuring, and I love this here, it's called the cash-on-cash return. Okay, and then I'll tie this and show you how this goes into the college plan. It shows that by buying this, you have your down payment, you have some closing cost. In this situation, it was $23,000. So that's actually the cash that you used. Okay, and so your return on that, after expenses, vacancies, and things like that, was $2,005. That's an 8.7% return. It's a fabulous return. Now, on the next slide, here's where the appreciation and leveraging really becomes outstanding. Okay. Now, with this, again, the $100,000 purchase price, $2,000 a month in cash flow, has appreciation of 5%. So you can see in the first year you had the $2,000, the $5,000 appreciation, and you go 15 years. because we recommend that your loan should be at 15 years. And at the end of 15 years, you'll see that the value is at $207,000. Now, we're basing 5% because that was historical over the last 40 years, and that was with an historical drops, okay? So it's very conservative. But you'll see in the 16th year, the cash flow is $10,500. The reason for that is because your mortgage is paid off. And so you had a couple years at the $10,000. And at the end of 17 years, you've collected $51,000 in cash flow. Your appreciated value is at $229,000. And so your total earnings on this was $175,000. So by selling that, you've created $175,000 for college education for your child. It's a remarkable way of doing it. So I was just really fascinated by this because I think there's some great value in this, and that's just with one rental property that a family that could buy and easily manage.
Wow.
On a side note, for those people who are intimidated by the market and what has happened in the recent years, we can run these numbers not taking into account the appreciation and only use the cash flow. It's a little slower process. You're always going to gain the appreciation, so it's just a nice bonus when you do.
Hey, one question I had just kind of popped in my head, and in the investors, and you said you work with people who maybe buy 1 or 2 homes, all the way to the people who buy 3 or 4 a month, and some of them are flipping them, put them in their portfolio.
We like to call that rehab and resell.
Rehab and resell, yes. but it's flipper on the TV, you know. It's flip this house, but I know it has a negative connotation.
It does.
Because unfortunately we have some of those and I call them the paint and carpet rehabbers.
There you go.
You know, and so true rehab specialists actually do rehab a house.
Yes.
Bring it
and
back
we're adding value.
Absolutely, and then put it back out there. And I think that's the only way you can do it now. And during the boom years,
right.
You could flip. And do okay, as long as you didn't have a conscience, you were fine, But now I think a lot of those people, it's like you really do need to find a house that is depreciated in value because of condition, and then fix those conditions, do it the right way, and put it back out there for somebody to buy and live
Absolutely.
in and long-term live in, not
to make it someone's home.
Exactly. And that's always the way I've done it. And I still consider it flipping, but I understand negative connotation. One of the things though, is as people get into this, I don't want to deal with renters. I don't want to, it's such a hassle and all that kind of stuff. Do you have a feel of how many people that buy just a few houses that still say, you know what, I still want to have them managed. I still want to have something, just take care of it. I just want to be, the decision maker.
Absolutely. And we have resources for that as well. With every investor, we have a team of experts that we will line them up with to help them with everything from property management to contractors, to tax professionals, attorneys, everything that you need and everyone that you'll want to work with in the process,
Okay.
we're going to provide you with.
Yeah, everybody I talk to, that's the most daunting thing. They're like, I don't want to deal with tenants.
Absolutely. And you don't have
hate
to
'em.
take those calls in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
You don't have to go fix toilets. There are absolutely ways around that. Very low expense. You're still going to cash flow. Never have to get your hands dirty.
There you go. That's perfect. Well, look, we're out of town already. Which always, when you have a good subject, the clock just spins around. So I want to thank both of you for coming in, taking the time today to go through some of this. Rob Spearman, my main man, the big dog for me, thank you for coming in and going through some of this. And Carrie Webber, the specialist, the go-to girl, I guess we'd call at this point, right?
Absolutely.
So if you have any questions, those kinds of things, get a hold of Carrie. Let her take care of you. It sounds as if you'd be in great hands. So with that, I want to thank all of you for watching. I want to encourage you to use our sponsors that we have on there. We can't exist without them. And trust me, the ones that we choose to be our sponsors take care of business. They do the right thing, and they will always be there for you with not only service but guarantees after that service. So with that, I'm Lance Hansen. This is Real Estate with RE/MAX, and we'll see you next Friday afternoon at 1:30. See you later.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders, building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.